Tammin is one of many small wheatbelt towns. The name's origin is a bit uncertain, with some sources saying that the Aboriginal word Tammin means grandmother or grandfather. Another possibility is the name originates with the tammar wallaby. The wallaby was once listed as extinct on the mainland, but reintroduction has seen numbers increase in some areas. The town is on the Great Eastern Highway, between the larger centres of Cunderdin and Calabarin. European exploration of the area started with Charles Cook Hunt in 1864. Hunt seems to have travelled far and wide, for John Forrest said of him, "Will I ever find a place that this man has not been before me?" In 1864, as he passed through the area, Hunt and his men constructed a well. His diary entry for the 4th of March reads, "During the early part of the day, the working party engaged sinking well. Having made a hole about 10 feet long by 7 feet broad and 6 feet deep, by noon we obtained a plentiful supply of water for travelling purposes." Hunt sank many such wells throughout the wheat belt, and this was one of the contributing factors in opening up the area for settlement. The first settler in the Tammin area was John Packham, who arrived in 1893. 10 years later, the Goldfields water pipeline arrived, and this helped guarantee the town's survival. The town site was gazetted in 1899. A local progress committee was formed in 1903. A bank, post office, hotel, stores and hall were all built between 1908 and 1911. The town was once much larger than it is today, and the population once numbered about 2,000. A military training ground was established and troops were inspected by General Lord Kitchener in 1910. Although the lease was cancelled in 1921, it continued to be called Kitchener's Field. In 1928, an airfield was established close to town, and it played host to some very famous pilots, including Charles Kingsford Smith, Major H. de Havilland and Horry Miller during the West Australian Centennial Air Race of 1929, and Amy Johnson in 1930. The air race was the longest in the world at the time, and of the 17 starters, an amazing 15 actually completed the course. Originally part of the Meckering district, the Tammin Road Board became independent in 1948. The Meckering earthquake in 1968 also had its effects in Tammin. The local hotel and several other buildings were so badly damaged that they had to be demolished. By 1987, the town's population was in decline, and businesses were closing in the main street. The remaining residents got together for a cooperative and set about revitalising the town. This was largely successful, and by 1990 the population had stabilised at about 500, and a number of businesses had reopened. There is an excellent little op shop in Tammin that's really worth checking out. When we visited, it was open from 9 AM to 1 PM on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This could vary depending on the availability of volunteers. huge wheat silos that dominate the main street of Tammin were constructed in 1960 and were some of the very first concrete silos to be built in Australia. They originally held 13,600 tonnes of grain and were extended in 1996 to hold 25,990 tonnes. If you're looking for somewhere to stay in Tammin, in a caravan, motorhome or camper, you won't find a much better spot than the local sports ground. There is a fee of $15 a night, payable to the local shire office, but for that you get power, water, toilets, showers, barbecues, a playground and an undercover area you can use if it's raining. This is about the best value you're going to find anywhere these days. There is also a blackwater dump point at the southern end of the sports ground, so facilities for travellers are very good indeed. The toilets at the sports ground are open all the time, but you'll need to get a key from the shire to access the showers. Other public toilets are available just behind the Tammin Hall in the main street.